Hello, everyone. I'm Annie Gibbins, and you're listening to Memoirs of Successful Women, the podcast where you get to hear candid conversations with fascinating women from around the globe who share aspects of their business and life journey, how they measure their success, and what they have learnt along the way. Well, today we'll be hearing from the amazing Anel, who coaches alpha females to reset their minds, reclaim their voices, and restoke their inner fires. Anel unlocks the greater clarity, power, and conviction in alpha females, connecting to their purpose and vision so that they can create pride and satisfaction in their lives. She's built 2 successful companies, raised 2 incredible boys, now men, kickboxed her way out of clinical depression, started competitive cycling in her mid-30s, became a podium winner in Ironman, is a sky runner, and much more. She's also a clinical psychologist, is a life coach, and a physical trainer. And in her book, Living in the Thrive Lane, the lessons learned by an ordinary woman who did an extraordinary event, she shares her journey to the finish line of her first Ironman event, the lessons she learned along the way, and gives actionable steps to the reader to take to create their own life of thrive. Well, welcome to the podcast, Anel.
Well, thank you so much, Annie. It's such a privilege to be here. Really excited.
Let's start by telling the listeners a little bit about yourself personally.
I'm one of those women who lived the idyllic life according to society, and yet on the inside, I was eaten up by shame and guilt and never feeling good enough. And when I first started on the journey, even as a coach, it was always a case of, yes, of course, now I can do something special, and then I'll feel like I've got a purpose and I'll feel like I can make a difference in other people's lives. And after more than 13 years of doing this, let me tell you that even that will not fulfill you. Like even that pedestal that a lot of us have been put on as the gurus, as the people with the answers, none of that actually matters until you find yourself in love with yourself.
Yeah.
And that took me the longest time. I left an abusive relationship that was for 19 years, just over a year ago. I lived in the shame of being this admired woman in public, working with some of the most successful people, and then having this secret in the background of, but I'm not strong enough to leave this marriage. Like, what's wrong with me? I struggled for a very long time with trying to fit into the paradigms that we are told we have to follow in order for business to work. Yeah. And every single time there would just be this rebellious, like wild woman inside of me that would say, I would rather go and clean toilets than keep doing this. It was all of this like conflicting pull and push inside of me the whole time of, this is what I'm being told, but this is what my soul is saying, but my soul is crazy and she doesn't make any sense. And honestly, it took me 46 years to finally say, can I curse on here?
Absolutely.
Fuck this shit. And actually, God, right now, I am ready to be happy. I am ready to see things differently. I am ready to do things differently. Show me the way. What am I not seeing? What am I not hearing? Because I cannot be a human doing any longer. And in that moment when I was sobbing on the floor, lying outside in the park on my birthday, I clearly received the message that until you can love yourself, you cannot receive love and you cannot love.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And that was devastating for me because I didn't even know where to start. didn't even know where to start. So that's been the journey that I've been on for the last year and a half, and why I'm so passionate about speaking to women in the most unfiltered, unapologetic, shocking way a lot of the times, because honestly, I've just discovered that all the rules is what's keeping women apart from women, from themselves. And right now, there are hundreds of thousands of people dying, whether they are physically pulling the trigger or they're just drowning themselves in a bottle of wine. And it's just not acceptable anymore, because there's nothing wrong with the people. There's something very wrong with the system. And until women give themselves permission to go, the system isn't for me, nothing's going to change. And I really believe that as women, we came here to reclaim our voices. We came here to speak our truth. We came here to say that which is not being said, so that men can give themselves permission to open up their hearts again. And this is where we start bringing the masculine and feminine balance back. So so I'm one of those women. I'm willing to talk about anything and everything about my life. I have dealt with the shame, and a lot of the times I like talking about the taboo topics. And I'm saying that if we can start making the conversations normal, people will get out of shame, and then people will actually start the transformation that is required. So that is me in a nutshell. And all those accolades, by the way, the Ironman, the Skyrun, the all of that means jack shit, by the way. Like, all of that means nothing. And so often when people hear all of those things, they go, oh my God, Anel, that's amazing. And I go, well, actually, no, because it was done for the wrong reasons. It was done to escape my pain. It was done to punish myself. And if we don't start talking about that, we don't start talking about, it's not just what you do, but why you do it that matters, we will continue putting pain and suffering on a pedestal. So I always say to people, yeah, it's great that I did all those things, had an amazing journey, learned a lot in the process, but I also want people to know these days that it was done from a space of shame and not feeling good enough, and I have had to prove myself. So right now, I am more proud if I'm able to sit on my ass for a whole day and not do anything, because believe me, that is more challenging than climbing a mountain. But that is what I say to women: start being proud of just being, of having the courage just to be in silence, just to be by yourself, and let's start applauding that. And that is a real gift.
I thank you for sharing that so articulately, because that's exactly what I find. I'm regularly get told that, you're so refreshing, you're so honest, you're so real. And and now at 52, it's actually very easy for me to do that. And I can hear it's taken you 46 years, and many people in my network, that's it. That's the biggest frustration that I'm finding. Women are trying to, they introduce themselves in the role that they have. They introduce themselves by the achievements that they've done. They don't introduce themselves as to who they are, what they love, what they enjoy, what, things that they do for others just for that pure joy. What is it that makes them actually uniquely them? And I think that's where that real empowerment comes from. So I'm sure that you're finding people in your network as well who are amazing achievers. If we, this podcast is on what are successful women and what does success look like. And it's very interesting that here you can see, on paper, incredible success, but you can have someone who is deeply shattered inside, has no direction in life, is self-abusing, is questioning. Why do we question? I can ask this question to you. Why do you think we automatically go, what is wrong with me? Why did you put up with that abuse for so many years? And your automatic default is, what have I done wrong? What is wrong with me? Rather than what is wrong with the system, or possibly this other person or relationship, at least own half of it. What do you think triggers that in women?
Well, I think that's how we're brought up, isn't it? Well, for me anyways, let me just speak for myself. I was brought up in a culture that, Anel, this is how it works. This is how life works. This is how the social system works. This is how school works. This is how it works. And look, it's working for everybody else, because everybody else is saying they're happy, and everybody else is putting pictures on Facebook and Instagram and even LinkedIn to go, oh my God, this is so amazing. You know, I'm making this much money and I've just done this and I have this. I have this, I've done this. And we say that that is success. So when you are not questioning this and all you do is getting the message that this is working for everybody else, and you sitting here and going, why is it not working for me? Like, why am I not happy? Why am I not feeling what all of them apparently are feeling? Then surely to goodness, there must be something wrong with me. I must be the factory reject, you know. And also the feedback that I received from my family was always, what's wrong with you? Why do you have to be so loud? Why do you have to be so rebellious? Why do you have to give everybody such a hard time? Why can't you just like be a little bit more quiet? Why do you have to make everybody feel bad? So it was always given back to me that there's something wrong with me because I am not like the family. I am not like the clan. I am not like the culture. And, you know, I went into the marriage knowing that it was not right for me, because I don't feel like I belong in the institution of marriage.
Yeah.
And whenever I wanted to leave, it was like, but you have to make it work. And what is wrong with you? You have to make it work. When I had depression and I reached out, it was like, well, what's wrong with you? Because the women in our family don't get depression. You know, it was always about me. And I was looking at all of this, and when it really started hitting home for me was probably when my son started picking up hassles in school, and he was told he's got ADHD and they wanted to put him on Ritalin. And because it wasn't me, because it was my child, I stood back and I was like, whoa, no, let us start looking at what is really going on here. And I started looking at all the institutions. I started looking at every single thing I've ever been told about what a child should be, their developmental milestones for them to be normal, what a good woman is, what a good mother is. And I was like, all the things that they told me would make me a good person, because I was also brought up in the Dutch Reformed Church of, you know, I was born in sin and I'm broken and I have to buy my way into heaven. So like all of those messages, every single thing always made me feel contracted. Everything put me into fear. And when I sat down and I thought about this, and I'm like, but how can I say I believe that God is love when I feel that even God is going to have a tick box like Santa Claus? And clearly I'm going to hell because I'm cursing all the time and I'm saying all the wrong shit. And then I thought, no, we have to start questioning this. And when I stopped looking at what is wrong with me and I started asking what is right with me, I found all those things that I thought was wrong with me is what made me me, is what made me unique, is what made me special, is what made me happy. And I just started giving myself permission to do all the things and say all the things that I'm told I can't do and can't say. And it was amazing because every time I did that, I was like, oh, this is so much fun, actually.
Yes.
I'm feeling happier every single day. Does it make me popular? No, definitely not. But then again, I'm not here to win a popularity contest, because if you think about it, the most popular means it is the most mediocre way you can be. It's the most average way you can be.
Yeah.
I didn't come here to be average. So, yeah. So it is definitely that messaging that we received all the time. It's always a, what is wrong with me? What do I need to fix? Instead of, well, what if nothing is wrong? What if it's just not right for me? because there are a lot of people for whom marriage is wonderful. There are a lot of people for who the structures and institutions feels really supportive and wonderful. And so I'll never say it's wrong for everybody, but I'm giving myself permission to know what is right and what is wrong for me.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. You know, as someone who has been married for 33 years and is very happy in that state, that's exactly it. It works for me. It doesn't work for others. It's not a competition. There is a breadth of normal and possible. It doesn't even have to be normal. Many people are on the edge and actually extremely happy in that space. You know, who are we to define what the rules are? It's interesting, you know, and as we're both parents, you know, you raise your children in a default of a lot of the time this is the way things are done because you're teaching them kind of life truths. But it's interesting. I often reflect, I would never approach my business in this way. In my business, I'm always approached. I don't go and think, gee, what were organizations doing 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Who wants to go and see a doctor or a surgeon who hasn't updated anything for 20 years? You'd be quite alarmed. You know, it would be crazy. And so with all that, you know, I do in my practice, it's all about what is your dream? What is your primary objective? What do you want to achieve? And then once you've actually articulated that, what would make you happy and grow and blossom and probably make a lot more money, but definitely be a lot more satisfied, joyful about what you're achieving, whatever space that's in, that requires a very open mindset. You know, that's what we do in business, isn't it? We have breadth in what we explore, and then we work out what works for our situation. So it's very interesting. You know, we're both business women, but it's interesting how you go, of course, that's the way you approach business, but then why don't we approach life in that same way? And I think we do need to share for this generation of women coming up, going, you don't actually have to conform. They're all truths that were taught you from history, and they work for some people. Now, what works for you?
Absolutely. There's no universal truth. And I feel one of the reasons why women, especially, do not speak up more in public is because they're so scared that they're going to be wrong. And
Yep.
I just want to say, you're always going to be wrong for somebody. Like, you're always going to be right for some people and you're going to be wrong for others. And that is perfect. Like, we have to stop thinking, yeah, I'm very outspoken and I'm very outspoken about the stuff that I don't believe in. And I'm not saying that they're wrong, but I'm not going to sit and explain every single time. Like, listen, you guys, you know, for those of you who do, like, I'm not going to say that because I just can't be fucked anymore. I don't have time for that. And what I'm finding is that the more I just kind of go, this is my truth, like, this is my truth, the more women go, is like, wow, you know, I think that too. It's like you're in my head. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, get out of your head, drop into your heart, and then start using your voice. Because staying in your head, holding all your wisdom, all the crazy, all the questioning, and all the kind of going, but I feel different, I think different, keeping that all in your head because you are afraid of being judged is the most selfish thing in the world. I'm sorry, women came here to be wise beings, and wisdom has to be shared. And so much wisdom is going to the grave because people are being afraid of being judged, especially on social media. And I'm like, you know, judges are going to judge. You know, I have people sending me the rudest messages. You know, you get the haters publicly posting most like unflattering comments sometimes, but that's nothing compared to the shit you receive behind the scenes. You know, like some of the messages I'm like, whoa, all right, okay, you know, I'll receive that, and then I'll feel into it. Is that true for me? No, it's not true for me. Okay, I can release that. But you know, and women are so terrified of that. And I just want to say, it hasn't killed me yet. And it hasn't slowed me down. It hasn't stopped me. But if I don't speak my truth, then what about all those women that are sitting there every day and they go, there's something, I just can't do this anymore. And I get those messages. I get messages from women that just, they're not connected. They'll never like comment on my posts because my posts are so way out of field that, you know, it takes brass overs to actually comment on my posts. But the private messages of women that go, you have no idea what a horrible time I've just been through, and I read this, and this is exactly what I needed to hear. You're like an answer to my prayer. That is why we do it. That is why we do the work that we're doing. And sometimes it will be something I posted a year ago, but the universe decided in that moment that is what somebody needed. So who are we not to share? Who are we to hold what we think to ourselves just because we think differently from what everybody else is saying?
And what does your professional life look like? Who do you serve, and what are your clients' biggest challenges?
I've been a coach for 13 years, and I've never like had to do a cold call or anything like that. I just get crazy opportunities, and then people go, oh, I saw you in this magazine, or I heard you on this, or I've read your blog, or I watched your video. So clients find me. So I really do believe in the law of attraction. I really do believe that the more I show up as my authentic self, people can connect with me, and they'll come and find me and sign me up. And it really is, for me, it's the women who know that they're here for something big, and they haven't given themselves permission to do the big thing in a way that feels amazing to them.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, it's still the fear of, what if I get this wrong? Or what if I don't hit the goal? Like, I don't even set goals with my clients anymore. I'm like, goals is for kindergarten, guys. Like, seriously, the women that I work with can set any goal and can achieve any goal. But what I'm interested in is actually connecting to those deep desires that's within my clients, and who they will be when they allow themselves to receive those desires. It is the transformation into your potential self that I work with my clients. And it's women that normally have a really strong message for the world. So a lot of them know that they're here to write a book. They know they're here to create a modality. They know they're here to do something big. They've been through hell. My clients have all got a really big story of pain, and you know, they've been through a really tough time, and they've been warriors, but they haven't learned how to love themselves. They haven't learned how to receive safely. So they achieve, but they can't receive.
Yeah. So big alpha women, achievers, doers, very poor at being who they are, still finding their authentic self, and being bold enough to go, this is my time. I'm not taking this anymore. I'm actually going to achieve my dream. I'm going to follow my passion. I'm going to get that peace and joy that I'm actually looking at. And not only that, if I achieve something, I want it to be something that is deeply passionate for me.
Oh, I want my clients to have lifegasms. You know, like I just wrote my new program, and I was like, I want them to wake up wet and horny. Like, they are so excited about the day ahead because they're living fully. That's what I want for my clients, you know, because at the end of the day, you know, happy is happy and whatever. But for us, there's like passion, there's that fire that a lot of women have been suffocating for a long time because they were too much for other people. And when you just give free rein to all of that, happy is not the word to describe how you feel. Like,
Orgasmic.
on lifegasmic. That is, you know, that is thrive. And that's why I am the instigator of the Thrive evolution, because thrive is blossoming. Thrive is exponential growth. Thrive is the process. And a lot of the times, you know, people will come to me and go, oh, I'd love to work with you, Anel, but you know what? I'm so far from thrive. I can't. And I'm like, they're like, I can't work with you because I'm not happy yet.
Oh, yeah, I have a lot of that. It's like you have to get to the destination before you're ready.
understand thrive is the process. It's not the end product.
Yeah.
Because to thrive is to blossom. I don't want you when you're like ready to die, which is what everybody thinks. They want to, work with you when they're already there, when they're already like the fully bloomed flower. And I'm like, no, that's not thriving, that's dying. like quite your peak, now you're dying. Like that's not what it's about. It's the journey. It's the process of thriving.
Yeah.
And so many people kind of think that, well, I'm so far down the rabbit hole that I'm not ready. And I'm like, well, how do you think you're going to get ready? Honestly, how do you think you're going to get ready if you haven't been able to get out of the hole on your own until now? And I know it sounds harsh, but it's true.
Yeah. The steps thus far have not worked. You have to have a reality check and go, well, it's not working for you. So if you keep doing that, it won't work for you. That is a harsh truth.
Yeah.
But it is the way it is. You have to actually start moving forward. You have to boldly launch in where there's always risk, and there's always complaints, and there's always, potential embarrassment or terrible failure. But I tell you what, once you do that, you're then going to go, oh my gosh, when I look at successful women, I think so much of that success has come from the hard times, the challenges, the times they put themselves out of their comfort zone, the times that absolutely shit has happened to them and they have survived. They've gone and said, oh my gosh, how will I never let this happen again? How will I learn from this? How will I take this as the biggest superpower in my journey forward? And that's often what happens. And it's happened in my business, and I can see it's happened in your business. Is actually your experience, much of it hard, has actually propelled you to incredible dizzy heights, if you like, in what true success is. And it's interesting. People often, ask me, well, why are you so happy or relaxed? You're a very busy person, because they relate busy with exhausting and, success. That if you're always busy and you're achieving in that way, that's what makes you successful. And you kind of go, well, one, you become smart and efficient when you're in a space, but that's it. When you're thriving, I call it in your lane. If I'm in my lane, which is very narrow, everyone out of my lane is actually not my energy, not my market, I don't actually care. Like you said before, I don't care about those people. I do care personally, but they don't add value, and I don't add value to them. I had a man that I worked with a few years ago, and he said, Annie, you are an acquired taste, and I'm taking a while to acquire you. And I was just mortified. I was like, oh my gosh. And then instantly, what's wrong with me? Imagine being, I'm an acquired taper. I'm like an olive or a sardine or something. It was kind of like such a weird thing. In other words, he wasn't in my lane. The interesting thing was I worried about this, what was wrong with me, for a little while. And then I went, oh, that's right. He doesn't get me, but I have been employed for this reason. I am going to achieve this for this organization. I'm going to be the solution to their problem in a certain way. And that requires someone who isn't his preferred taste. It is someone, because what they were doing wasn't working. They were bold in choosing someone from a different lane. And with that means there's going to be potential conflict, time to adjust, stress. She's not doing it the way we used to do it. Sometimes I feel uncomfortable. I don't like it. And everyone likes to default to their status quo of comfort. And so that is an interesting one, where I took it now as a major learn of, I quite like being someone's, acquired taste, because what it's actually telling me is, yes, you've chosen to put me in a place because of my strengths and what I'm going to achieve. And that's much of what I'm hearing from you today, that you're actually so in your lane, or in your space, that you go, I have 100% certainty of that. And then that makes me actually have freedom.
The reason I am so productive is because I rest so much. Like, I've learned creativity takes a huge amount of energy. So for instance, I blog every day.
Yeah.
That blog is like running a marathon. There's so much energy that gets taken up in that. So I have a midday sleep every day. I have an afternoon nap every single day. I meditate every day. I go and train every day. I do so much self-care so that when I take action, it's really effective. And when I do so much self-care, I have so much more energy to actually give to my people instead of waking up exhausted, trying to do everything for everybody. Oh, I'm also very selfish. I don't do shit for other people. I'm like, like we all take responsibility for our own lives and our own outcomes. Like I'm responsible for everybody else. That was a huge thing for me as well. So I only do what I actually really enjoy doing, and I only do what I do with a joyful heart.
Yeah.
Anything that I feel resentful about or anything that feels draining for me, I just don't do that stuff. I'm just like, I refuse to do that. That's just, I wasn't born to do that clearly because, it drains my energy.
Yeah.
And when you start understanding that, especially as women, and allow yourself to receive support, then life doesn't have to be a struggle, because when you actually just focus on your dream, which by the way is all you're here to do, is live your dream. Like, just saying, if you just live your dream, the universe gives you the energy, the universe gives you the right people, the universe gives you everything that you need. But here's the thing as well, then women feel guilty. Oh my God, I can't pay for somebody to do my house, to clean my house, and now there's nothing wrong with me, I can clean it myself. And I'm like, your miracle is the other person's miracle as well. And the same with your clients. And I really want women to hear this. Every client that you're praying for are praying for you right now. So your miracle is somebody else's miracle. And that is for every piece of support you allow yourself to receive. This is abundance.
I think we all measure our success in different ways. How would you measure your success?
Success. Well, I think first you have to define success for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, people need to take the time to define, what would success feel like for me? Not look like. What would success feel like for me? Would it feel like joy? Would it feel like freedom? Would it feel like abundance? Would it feel like impact, contribution? What would success feel like for me? Because until you understand what success will feel like for you, you'll never feel successful. And here's the thing, once you've identified that, let's say that you say, okay, success for me is freedom, like feeling free. Then I would ask myself, what do I do already that when I do it, I feel free? Like, for me, when I'm out on my bike, I feel like I have wings. I feel so free, right? When I'm writing my blogs, I feel completely free. I take the muzzle off and I just allow the message through unrestrained. That's so freeing for me. When I go walk on the beach, that's when I feel really free. When you start identifying what are you doing in your life at the moment, or what is available to you right now that doesn't cost a single cent in order for you to feel that, and you start doing more of that, you're an energetic vibration to attract everything else that's going to have you feel that way in your business. And before you know it, you will feel that way all day long, which means you will feel successful all day long.
And energized, because positive energy is energizing.
Exactly. And this is where we really start seeing women change. I have a client who her physical appearance has changed through self-love work. It looks like she's had plastic surgery, but she hasn't. And she's not changed any of her products. But her features started changing because for her, success was loving herself. And for the first time in her life, she's loving herself. Weight came off without having to diet or exercise. Her face changed, her hair changed, her skin changed, by only focusing on feeling love for herself. And then her business started opening up. All of a sudden, she got on a call. He said, "Anel, I just got 3 clients this week." I'm like, amazing. She goes, "You don't understand. They all came to me."
Funny about that. Positive attracts.
Right? Of course they do. Because you attract, the universe will give you more things to feel the way that you choose to feel.
I'm sure my listeners would love to learn from your wisdom and experience. So, what have been your greatest learnings along the way?
Like, stop complicating success. You just need to know what it is that you want, really want, and why you want it, how it's going to make you feel, who you will be as that woman, and then step into her energy every day. And then just take the aligned actions that the universe will show you. It's really that easy. And the only reason you won't allow yourself to receive that is if you don't feel worthy, because you're not loving yourself enough. So honestly, just love, just love, just love.
More love, ladies. Great learning. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. I've been entertained. I've enjoyed all of your messages. I've enjoyed your learning, and I enjoy you. I enjoy your energy, and I think you've got so much to give women and the world. And I look forward to, seeing more and more things come out of Anel Vesta over the years ahead.
Thank you, Annie, and likewise. And I'm so glad we've connected. And I can't wait to see, what else you are doing right now and how you are. Let me say as well, acknowledgement to you for creating a stage for other women. That is magnificent. Thank you.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Memoirs of Successful Women. You can find me at anniegibbins.com, where you can download my free resources, get connected on social, and check out my online magic transformation program. If you love this show, feel free to subscribe to future episodes and, of course, share it with your friends. I'll see you again soon, and until then, happy podcasting.